All right, good morning, everybody. Sorry, my throat's a little shot still. Good morning, good morning. We had the CPI this morning. Came out at 2.7%, over 3.1, so a little bit low there. Unemployment at 224, exactly as expected. Philly Fed at negative 10.2, much lower than expected. Very low CPI, though. Definitely a lot lower than the expectation. 3.1 was the expectation. CPI is typically not that far off. CPI is usually like 0.1, 0.2% maybe. Farther from the expectation. And we're 0.4% off on that expectation. So very bullish there. I mean, clearly, as we can see, the market is taking it very bullishly. So taking a look at our trade plan from last night here. Okay, so last night we were saying above or below 75, which obviously we're holding above that. Our target was 810 to 843. We've already finished that trade plan. You're basically finishing it right now. So if you guys took that, if you guys were trading pre-market, then that is already completed. So we'll have to update that for the morning here. So let's say holding above or below this 843 level instead. Above, it goes back to a retrace into 67, and then the prior high, which is around 82. Holding below, let's say, I would normally say just the value low, but this is a very large retrace. Let's say where this node starts right here. So there's a couple of nodes around this 806 to like 810. So let's just say 810. And then going down to 75. Kind of like the halfway point. Profile shape would mostly... it would mostly be a trend profile. We're trending very one-directionally here. Still inside that overlapping value, so still slightly neutral. What's today? Today's Thursday? The value high of Wednesday here. Okay, same thing on NASDAQ. Our trade plan is already finished from last night, so we do have to update these levels. So we'll say 25,299 is the major level here. And then holding above is looking for 350, which is kind of already hit, but just keep an eye on that level. Still a very important level. And then 507 is the major target. And then below, same thing, retrace the CPI, which is around 115. And then full retrace, which is 905. And what we know about CPI is it is very often retested. Either the same day or the following day. Typically, you think of it like single prints, because it does create single prints, right? These are single prints if you use them on the pre-market. CPI is like the only time we actually care about single prints on the pre-market. We typically don't care. But the single prints from CPI are very often retested at least 50%. So like half of these single prints, so going down to say like 170 would be a pretty standard retest. And then for ES going down to like 820 would be a pretty standard retest. So if we see a lot of sell pressure around the initial balance, that will be the general idea. We'll keep an eye out for that. If there's not a lot of sell pressure here, then the trend is just too strong, right? And today was a very exceptional CPI, much lower than I'm assuming most people would have anticipated. Like I said, CPI is typically not that far off. They're typically very good with their expectation. Maybe 0.1, maybe 0.2% off. But today was 0.4% off, which is a very big beat. Let's take a look at the rate cut. Because of how big of a beat that was, how much did it impact the rate decision here? Not much, only by 2%. Still betting on no change in January. 73%. The chance for a rate cut went up by 2%. I was actually expecting more of a change there. Okay, a little bit of sell pressure. Watch that 30-minute high kind of being taken out here. Oh, sorry. Let me post the trade plan on YouTube. My brain is still a little foggy from being sick, not operating at full potential here. Still a little slow. All right, there we go. There's the trade plan for you guys. Good morning, everybody. Tachi, Leo, Ordinary, Morris, Banana. Appreciate you guys being here. Keep an eye on VWAP if we do continue downward. Marcel, Future AT, TS, Greg, Titus, Igor. Good morning, Larry, Estevan, Roma. Pot, Mr. B, Bailey, Azir, Adam. Adam, Lubomir, Trevor, Orion, Marcel, Peter. Good morning, Denise, Ranger, Vanquish. Good morning, Trading. Jose, Builds, Lucio. Good trades. Good morning, Joan. Appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully this is the final sickness for a while. I'm usually not sick this often. Just kind of unfortunate timing. Got sick back to back. Do we have anything after the bell today? No, we do not. Keep an eye on VWAP. This could be that CPI retest that we were talking about, but that would be a pretty big move to the downside. Could be another 10 points, maybe another 20 points if it wants to retest CPI. The reaction is always based on the dollar. So if they think the dollar is going to go down, then it's bullish for the market and vice versa. It's also a direct reaction to like rate cuts. If they think it's going to make rate cuts more likely or less likely. That's how all the financial data is taken. The reaction to the dollar and reaction to the rate cycle. Good morning, Victor. You retested the CPI here. Excuse me, but you did not fill in like the halfway point or the full retest of the CPI, just a standard retest so far. Kind of retesting the high of that candle. You did get to about the halfway point on NASDAQ, so yeah, almost exactly the halfway. If it does continue, keep an eye on the low of that candle around 113. Would also line up with a retest of VWAP as well. Here comes VWAP, 142 and 18 on ES. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is the CPI retest. Yeah, it helps a lot, Salsa. It helps just see the... It's like X-ray, right? You're like seeing into the candles. With just the candle, you're kind of losing a little bit of the bias. What's actually going on inside the candle. This candle right here is the CPI candle. So you can see we're retesting the two major nodes. They had a major node here, major node here. They're both retested. And this is kind of where it started, where that data came out. Make sure you guys are trading the right contract because the other contract expires tomorrow. It doesn't really matter for day traders, you're not holding them overnight anyway. But the volume definitely is way better on the new contract. The new one is the H contract. Google and Nvidia backing a company called Lovable, which is a AI coding platform at 6.6 billion valuation. Those companies are starting to make waves. Using AI to help you code platforms and apps and stuff like that. It's only going to keep getting better as people use it for coding. That might have been it. That might have been the full CPI retest. We'll see if they can actually stay above these VWAP, the daily VWAP and the moving averages here. Hey, Titus, no worries, man. Appreciate it. You can see this like range that we were stuck in the last couple of days. Started losing it, then CPI came in and now we're reclaiming it pretty quickly. If it goes for a full range retest, it'd be back to the 90s. I'd probably tighten this up a little bit, probably around like 80. Take out that wick. Holiday chop, yeah. It was also just because we were waiting on a lot of data. There's a lot of data coming out this week. I appreciate the membership on YouTube, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. Discord is the first link down below. Addis is like the second or third link. You can check out Addis. There, they got a bunch of different plans, so there's no like set price. There is a free trial for Addis. It's like the second or third link. If you want an extended trial, you can send me an email and just let me know which email you registered with. And I can send it over to their team to get you a 30-day trial. You want a RAM? You can see on NASDAQ, same thing. Retesting the CPI candle, you had two major nodes, one there, one there. Both were retested. You didn't get the full retest, but like I said, you usually get a 50% retest, and that is that 50%. That is an extremely common pattern you guys want to look out for on CPI days. That 50% retest happens damn near every time. If it doesn't happen the same day, it's usually because the momentum is just too damn strong. But funny enough, that strong momentum typically gets faded the next day, and the retest will happen eventually anyway. Hey, have a good one, man. Large tape is very active today, but it's not very biased. It's kind of back and forth. Slightly more bearish. You're shifting the POC back to this upper level, but it's not able to hold above that 30-minute high, so it's still struggling a little bit here. Possibly putting in a lower high overall as well. A lot of stacked bearish delta coming in here. There's a pretty large gap between the daily and session VWAP. So if you get stuck in that zone, it might chop out a bit. Good morning, Angelo. POC is only for the volume. I don't look at the market profile like value levels. This is just a volume profile on the right. Keep an eye on the session VWAP here. If it bounces off the session VWAP, like I was saying, when there's a large gap between the two VWAPs, it likes to kind of chop between them. Why we typically call it the danger zone. You gotta be careful inside that gap. It's about a 15-point gap. This candle is pretty much just one very large bearish stacked imbalance. Pretty much every node is bearish. We'll see how it responds to VWAP here. So this is pretty much exactly what I was talking about. You're bouncing off VWAP. There's the bounce right back to the daily VWAP. Now we have to see if they're actually going to stay above that daily VWAP. A lot of bullish delta coming in. Yeah, if you're in the Discord, the community chat right above the trading floor, that's what we use. That's the chat that we use for the live stream. So if you have any questions, you can put them in there. If you have any like direct questions that you don't want to be in the Discord, you can send them to me on Discord like directly as well. If it's more of like a private question. If you want to replicate my charts, if you're in the Discord, just go to the settings channel, settings and templates. I haven't updated the Addis template in a while, but that should be the up-to-date one. Like, even though it says it was only updated in November, I haven't made any changes since then, I'm pretty sure. That should be the up-to-date one. What's the version? 354? Yeah, it's the right one. There's no specific reason. Like, I don't think Tradeabait's like better than Addis or anything. I've just been using Tradeabait for my main account for so many years that that's just kind of what I use. I'm just kind of stuck to it. So my main account's on Tradeabait. Most of my Apex accounts are on Tradeabait. This is an Apex account as well, but I don't actively trade in this one. This is mostly just used for stream. Good morning, XP. Good morning, Ryder. So no reaction on the daily VWAP. Very strong push up here. That delta was flooding in for a little bit on the buy side. Beautiful bounce off the session VWAP. Wasn't exact. It missed it by like a point, but that's definitely good enough. Yeah, this is rhythmic. This is a rhythmic Apex account. So if I wanted to, I could just live trade on this one. Trading on Addis is perfectly fine. We have a lot of members that trade directly on Addis. I just don't trade on Addis because, like I said, I'm using this for stream. And my main account is on Tradeabait. And my main account is my main account, right? That's the one that I trade mostly on. And it's mostly just habit. I've just been trading on it on Tradeabait for many years. I've been on Tradeabait like pretty much since I started futures trading because they've been around for a very long time. Tradeabait and NinjaTrader were basically like my start into futures trading many years ago. And up until recently, I used NinjaTrader as well. Until you guys recommended Addis, like what was that, like 2 years ago, year and a half ago, whenever that was. You guys recommended Addis, so I tried them out, and they were very, very similar to NT. So I was like, okay, I'll see how it goes. And pretty much immediately, I noticed that they were better. So I switched over to Addis. I don't like switching platforms very often. So me switching from NT to Addis was actually pretty big. approaching that value high of Tuesday. And then we have the upper tail of Wednesday, if it does continue. Pretty long tweezer here, a couple of overlapping wicks. Same thing on ES, Tuesday's value. Upper tail of Wednesday as well. Yes, it basically needs to be a rhythmic account. There is a way to do it with the Trade of 8 accounts, but it's really not worth doing it. So if you're going to use Addis, just get the rhythmic account. It's way easier. The Trade of 8, funny enough, used to directly connect, and then Trade of 8 did their whole NT thing and made it a lot harder. Now you have to like go through NT, do some like plugin thing. It's a pain in the ass. So if you're going to use Addis, just use the rhythmic account. It literally ties in directly. You just use the same exact login. I'm not paying for any extra data, nothing. This is literally a bare bones paid Apex account that is coming from Rhythmic. The Rhythmic Apex. I'm using the direct login. If you guys don't know how to combine them, I have a video that's either called Apex Startup Guide or Addis Startup Guide. I think it's Addis Startup Guide. And that walks you through how to log in with your Apex account and everything. So here is a point of origin from the sell-off of yesterday. This is kind of the opening sell-off that we had. Very top-heavy candle, delta-wise. A lot of bullish delta up here. Pretty aggressive to the upside here. Watch that ADMA. You haven't really been establishing a trend so far today. They're not retesting the 24 and staying in that direction. Once you flip the ADMA, it's kind of trending aggressively in that direction until it loses it again. You're not establishing a stable trend where you're kind of back testing the 24, bouncing, rinse and repeat. I don't have to pay for this account anymore because it's a paid account. I paid a one-time fee when I got this account funded. Not as many block trades today. Yeah, there's still a few, but definitely not seeing the consistent like 500 positive or negative. That like 500 contract guy is not here. Yeah, we haven't had one single trade actually in that 500 range. There's an 800. It's a little bit worrying when you have these large block trades come in on like the high of day or low of day. A lot of the times they're just grabbing liquidity and then coming back. Oh, I'm fine for the most part, Chevy. It's just you get like muscle aches and stuff with the flu. It's kind of mostly the problem. It should be gone in a few days. You should just wait it out. I actually have those. I forget what it's called. Yeah, it lost me. I used to use them for sleeping. Those like magnetic ones. It's not like a reusable, or it's not like a disposable strip. It's like a reusable one. I forget what it's called. This is what I was talking about with the block trades being on the high of day. It's just a lot harder to protect them. They're also trying to repair the 30-minute candle. Keep an eye on 57. Repairing just means it's not going to have single prints. So if it goes down to 57, it won't have single prints. But in 8 minutes, if they're not down to 57, they will have single prints, which you'll see on the close. So far today, we've only had a couple of 30-minute candles, but they have protected their lows every time, and their highs have been taken out. So you do have a little bit of a 1 time frame here. Couple of minutes left. You will have single prints back to 57 if it stays here. Looks like you might have a couple of single prints going down only a few points, so you'll probably fill them in pretty quickly. We'll see. You did have single prints yesterday that are filled in now. So this big chunk of single prints got filled in on the open. We also have one left open back from Friday. Goes back to 84. Okay, they repaired about half the candle, leaving open 3 single prints down to 57. Still absorbing these block trades up here. Like I said, when you have block trades on high of day or low of day, they're very hard to protect. They typically grab liquidity and then kind of push it back. Especially when it's the largest block trades of the day. Starting to protect this upper node here. They did not allow it to rotate below that 64. Single prints being protected, 24 being protected as well. Very top-heavy candle, but you're not seeing a squeeze or anything. It's not pushing it down. No UFC for 6 weeks? Are they not even doing like fight nights or anything? That first Paramount card is massive though. Like it's one of the biggest cards I've had in a long time. Yeah, you're right. I don't see anything on the schedule. That's crazy. So we have nothing until the 24th. The 24th is a really big card. Yeah, we have the stupid Jake Paul and AJ fight tomorrow. I was telling my friends that we're gonna find out very, very quickly if AJ took that extra paycheck, because that fight should not even be remotely close. If you guys watch boxing at all, like that's not, they're not even in the same realm. That's one of the stupidest matchups I've ever seen. There's a wall here, by the way. This wall is getting smashed. Hey, Angelo, have a good day, man. That wall got taken out. Few thousand contracts. 2,500. Jake wins by bank transfer, yeah. Yeah, like I said, we'll find out very, very quickly. That fight shouldn't even go the distance. It shouldn't even last, I'd say, like 4 or 5 rounds. I don't know what special rules they're doing. Every time Jake fights, there's a bunch of special rules. Really stupid. But AJ is like an exceptional boxer. He might not be like in his prime or anything. Some would probably argue he's like coming down. But even then, it's not even remotely close. Yeah, I don't follow any of that stuff. I don't follow influencer fights. I just see the Jake Paul ones because they happen to pop up on Netflix. I saw this one on Netflix yesterday, so I knew it was happening. But yeah, I'm not a big influencer fight guy. I think that shit is a joke. I mean, all power to Jake. He's making a shit ton of money doing this, and people are watching, right? Give the people what they want, right? And people are obviously tuning in. He's making a shit ton of money. But anybody who's not in the fighting game, who doesn't watch a lot of fighting, if you think that that guy stands a chance against AJ, you need to watch a little bit more of AJ's fights. The only way he stands a chance is, like we said, the bank transfer, the paycheck. There's a 30-minute sweep on that wall that got taken out there. Keep an eye on those single prints down to 57. Yeah, I think even if the fight goes the distance, he was paid off. Like, he's holding back. And then obviously if he loses, he was paid off 100%. Yeah, that's the only argument you can make about the influencer fights, is that it brings normies that don't watch boxing or combat sports. It brings the normies to the combat sports. That's like the only good argument. And at the end of the day, it's free, right? I would never pay for this fight. I mean, it's not technically free. You got to pay for Netflix, but most people have Netflix anyway. Yeah, not a chance in hell I would pay any money for these fights. What I hate about what it's brought to the sport is, like, people genuinely think that, like, Jake Paul is crazy good and like he actually could beat people that are at a top level like AJ. Like, they're clueless. It's given people like it's like wrestling. Like not real wrestling, like fake wrestling. like WWE. The biggest disgrace to boxing is that these influencer fights are like commissioned fights. They like actually go on a professional record, which is just such a joke. It just shows you that the whole industry is just being paid off. Keep an eye on VWAP if this does continue. It might just be a single print fill-in. I was never massive into boxing. I used to watch it a decent bit. I mostly watched the Klitschko brothers back in the day, if you guys knew those. Vitaly and Vladimir. They were pretty fun to watch. When their era came to an end, that's kind of when my boxing era came to an end. I just stopped watching. I catch all the really big fights. What was that really big fight we just had? It was with was it Canelo? I think it was Canelo. I watched that one. DOC still being protected here. Oh, he's not terrible. He's definitely not bad. He's just not at the level that people think he's at. He's not at the level that he portrays himself to be, but that's just his promotion, right? Of course he's going to promote himself. Like I said, you can't hold anything against the guy. He's doing fantastic. He's making millions of dollars off this. Yeah, Canelo Crawford, that's what it was. That was a really good fight. Like I said, the biggest downside is just the perception that it's given people. They think these influencers actually stand a chance. You know, the greatest example of the problem with this is if you guys are UFC fans. What was his name? What was the wrestler's name that joined the UFC and got absolutely destroyed? CM Punk. That was the perfect example of what I'm talking about. Of like these delusions actually getting into people's heads and they think they stand a chance. What's going on with gold? It is spiking a little bit. I saw that. It's up like 1%. Probably the CPI, if I had to guess. He fought like I fight in my dreams. Are you talking about CM Punk? Yeah, when he joined the UFC, it was really bad. Do the walls indicate anything in particular? Not right away. You need to see how they're reacted to. Like right now, we had that wall come in. We had these block trades up here, but they're not really getting anything. They're not being protected bullishly, so they're just kind of being absorbed. So it's really just about how the market respects them. What do we have going on next week before the holiday? We have nothing on Monday. We have GDP on Tuesday. Unemployment on Wednesday. I forget, is Christmas Eve a half day? Let me see. It is, yeah. So half day on Wednesday. And Thursday, I believe. No, sorry, Thursday's Christmas. Yeah, so Wednesday's the half day, Thursday's Christmas. What happens on Friday? Let me see. I think Friday's back to normal. Yeah, I think Friday's back to normal, but I will most likely not be back on Friday. We'll probably be taking Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. We'll see. New Year's on a Thursday this year, or technically next year. The New Year's Eve on a Wednesday. Yeah, Lesnar was one of the only like wrestlers that came over from the WWE and actually did well, but he's a genetic freak. That guy's just a specimen. He was also juiced up, yeah, for sure. He was in the era of UFC not actually caring about them being juiced out of their mind. They pretended to care. Yeah, exactly. He's a legit wrestler. Yeah. He's not just like a WWE wrestler. Do I think this is it for the day? It is very common recently that the afternoon has been doing absolutely nothing. I was resting most of the day yesterday, and I would come back to my screen every 30 minutes or every hour to give the Discord an update. And it literally was not moving. Pretty much every time I came back to my screen, it was like the same price. It was like slowly going down, as you can see, but for the most part, it was doing like absolutely nothing. You didn't start to really get a strong move until like, what was it, 2 o'clock? And then even then, it came right back. The afternoons recently have been doing the like find a node and stick to it. Which is just that same pattern we've been seeing the last like few years. The pattern of the afternoon value not being respected. It seems like at this point, the only thing that would break this pattern is if the markets like truly started going 24/7. Yeah, recently you can just see the afternoons are just not really doing a whole lot. Here are the single prints being filled in, by the way. We got one left. All right, guys, we're going to call the morning stream there. I'm going to be in the Discord for the rest of the day today. Keep an eye on the single prints, couple of single prints left down below on ES and NASDAQ. Also, keep an eye on VWAP. Haven't retested VWAP in quite a while. If it does pull back to retest the single prints, then it's probably looking for VWAP anyway. You had a couple of really large block trades and a buy wall, or sorry, a sell wall that got taken out by bullish Delta. But all of that Delta is just kind of being stuck. They're not really getting what they want so far. One thing to note is so far today, every single 30-minute low has been protected. Even on this tiny candle here, they are still protecting that 30-minute low. And every single 30-minute high has been taken out. So that trend is stable. There's not that many 30-minute candles so far today, but that trend is still there. So watch those 30-minute highs and lows. If this one does get taken out, that pattern will begin to be broken. And then obviously you would just target the remaining 30-minute lows. But yeah, we are one time framing bullishly. But alright guys, that's all I got. If you're in Discord, I will see you guys there. If you guys enjoyed the content, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. Apex is doing an 80% off sale, and they have very cheap resets right now. I believe it's like $25 resets. If you guys want to check that out, you can use code BREW, B-R-E-W. If you guys want to check out Addis or the Discord, the links are down below as well. But alright guys, if you're in Discord, I'll see you guys there. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time as always. Peace everybody.